CBCT 8x8 image capture via the PAX-I 3D imaging system. Objectives are to capture an 8x8 CBCT image, occlusal right, standard image quality, standard voxel of 0.12 mm with no metal artifact reduction. We'll start from the EasyDent software by left-clicking the search window and typing in the name of our patient. Left-click on Search, verify our patient, and then from there, left-click on the Acquisition tab. Left-click on the CT icon along the left-hand side to launch the capture software. Verify again our patient along the left-hand side, the parameters for this X-ray exposure, and then from there, choose our options: 8x8, occlusal, right-hand side of our arch, with standard image quality, standard voxel size, in this case here, skipping the MAR or metal artifact reduction, and then click on Confirm to set the device into capture mode.
In this next example, what we're going to do is a smaller field of view, what's called an 8x8, which means that the scan is then 8 centimeters wide, 8 centimeters in depth, and then 8 centimeters in height. So in this case here, this would be good for doing perhaps either a dual arch from the anterior to the second molars, and what's also very common is where you want to capture, let's say, the left or right hand as far as what we call a dual arch, to do the upper arch and lower arch. In this example, we're going to do 8x8 occlusion right, which means that because we chose occlusion, we want the upper arch and lower arch. We chose right, which means we want to capture the occlusal maxillary for the right-hand side, and then also as far as the mandible on the right-hand side here as well. We also chose the right-hand side because, again, the lights as far as for our CT are always going to project on the left-hand side of our patient. Okay? So from that standpoint, again, it's important to have the patient's face symmetrical in the device to capture an equal amount of anatomy, as you see here, as you would then be capturing then on the opposite side. So from a positioning point of view, as we look at the options we chose there, if we chose occlusion, this horizontal axial light we see here, we want this at the corner of the patient's lips, or if you would, go ahead and smile for me now, please, or it's right at the incisal edge right there for me as well. Okay, that tells me I'm going to capture 4 centimeters anatomy above that light, 4 centimeters anatomy down below that light. My coronal light that we see on the side of the patient's face, this one right there, okay, this is my midpoint now between the front and back border of my scan. So in this case, I'm going to capture 4 centimeters anatomy in front of that light, and then 4 centimeters anatomy behind that light. That is essentially my target, but again, targeting showing on the left-hand side, but then capturing the same amount of anatomy then on the right-hand side of her face. Okay, so from that standpoint, you want to follow our same scan protocols for that to capture against this quadrant showing the upper and lower arch over there. There's one more thing we need to do here, though. Again, just like we did for our scan protocol as far as leveling off our occlusal plane, bring your eyes down to the same height as the bite stick, and if you would, go ahead and smile again for me, please. Okay, actually she's perfectly online right now. So technically speaking, the cusps of her teeth are parallel to that axial light, which works well sometimes as a reference for that. Once that is set, we can go ahead and tighten our temporal rods. And once they're tightened, applying pressure here to increase our stability. And then last thing we do before we capture our image is provide our instructions to go ahead and swallow. Wrap your lips around the bite block like you're sucking on a straw. Breathe slowly through your nose. Close your eyes and then count to 30. And that's it.
Navigating back to the capture software, left-click on Ready to put the device into capture mode. When prompted, you can now press down the hand switch to capture your image.
The CT scan has been completed. While the computer is doing its regeneration and generating our DICOM scan itself, we can go ahead and release the patient from the system itself. So first thing you're going to do then is rotate the knob here to loosen up the temporal rods. Lift up the bite stick here slightly so they can release their bite, and they can exit out the device to the left.
In summary, you should now be able to capture an 8x8 CT image of occlusal right with standard image quality, standard voxel with no metal artifact reduction.